All right, we are back now here on the KFYR Plus News Desk, and today we're joined by chef and culinary expert James Briccioni to explore how flexible eating habits are reshaping the American table. We're going to share some new insights on why frozen foods are growing in popularity and how innovation is transforming modern meal planning. Chef Briccioni, thank you for your time today. I sure appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Excited to be here and chat with you today.
Well, rising food costs continue to shape our shopping habits. How are budgets influencing some meal planning right now?
Yeah, I think it's certainly something that is on a lot of people's mind. And when we think about frozen foods and we talk about value, it goes beyond just the price tag, right? So affordability, of course, is important, but consumers consistently say taste, convenience, and the practical benefits, really drive what makes a food feel worth it. So when we're thinking about value, think about quality. Number one, ease of preparation, portion control, and reducing waste. It's not just about necessarily the lowest price tag. And that's where frozen food can really deliver, giving households more control over how food fits into both their schedule and their budget.
So, what innovations in the frozen aisle are resonating most now with today's shoppers?
Yeah, I think we kind of see a mix. I think particularly with younger shoppers, people who are discovering new foods or new trends on Instagram or TikTok. They see these exciting new flavors that maybe they've never tried before, and there's always so much innovation happening on the frozen food aisle that those hot new trends are going to be available, and it's a great way to discover them because oftentimes the ingredients can be hard to find, or if you do, you end up with this big stock of ingredients that you had to buy to try a single dish that you may never even use again. So I think it's really wonderful to see all of the innovation that's happening, all the exciting new flavors that are there, as well as reliable. So a lot of the older shoppers, they want their reliable, their consistent foods that they go to the frozen food aisle to have that really manage their budget and make meal planning simple.
James, are we seeing a resurgence in frozen foods? Because let's be honest, I'm old enough to remember the 1970s. Frozen foods were very popular. It was early 1980s. My parents were on the go all the time, so we used to make frozen pies, frozen pizzas. But are we seeing a resurgence now because of this air fryers, the technology that we have? For a long time, I never used my oven to cook, the frozen products because I would just make it. It was easier for me to make it. But now, air fryers are so quick and so popular.
Yeah, they are, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we see, that I know is important to me, both as a chef and as a parent, and that you can get through frozen foods is that convenience and that flexibility. It doesn't mean you're going to be waiting an hour for something to be ready, like you said, with
Hmm.
with an air fryer. You can take this great food and have it ready so quickly, and it fits into anyone's schedule.
Yeah. How are brands improving quality and nutrition in the frozen products compared to, let's say, just 10 years ago?
Well, I think that's something always see. It's a really competitive space, right? So quality and taste are always going to be big drivers, and really drive competition. And I think one of the things a lot of people don't realize is that when you're talking about frozen fruits and vegetables, those are often picked at their peak of ripeness, which means peak flavor and peak nutrition, and then preserved in that state, and then in your freezer, ready for you when you need it.
Your research highlights generational differences in how people are using frozen foods. How do boomers, Gen Xers like me, millennials, and Gen Z differ in their habits?
Yeah, I think that's kind of that exploration, and where the younger generations are seeking out the innovation, exciting new taste, exciting new flavors to explore in the frozen food aisle. While older generations may want, are going to maybe look for a little more practicality and reliability. Foods that they know are going to be convenient and delicious, and really deliver value for them.
From your chef's perspective, James, what frozen ingredients match or even outperform their fresh counterparts?
Oh boy, that's a great one. I mean, I think really for me, number one, the convenience of proteins is absolutely
Hmm.
fantastic. I mean, we've got some dumplings here. I love a dumpling. I'm never going to spend I'm not going to spend all afternoon folding dumplings for the kids. Even as a chef,
Hmm.
I'm a little too busy for that. Fruits, I think, are fantastic after morning workout. I love a great smoothie, and knowing that I've got that mix of fruits. I don't have to buy all of these separate containers and worry about how quickly they're turning over in my refrigerator. So those are ones I really look for.
Many assume that frozen means less healthy. What does the research say about the nutritional quality of frozen foods today?
Yeah, for sure. I think that there's really a lot to preserving food at its peak, right? So we talked about the peak ripeness and peak nutrition. So and then being preserved at that state. And I think that's really important. A lot of fresh foods, which of course are also fantastic, but they're going to be picked under ripe so that they can make it to market by the time they actually ripen. And here, you have that convenience of a peak product right in your freezer.
All right, Chef, where do you see the frozen category heading over the next few years?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to, continue to see, lots of innovation. There's great competition there. You're going to see quality improvement, flavor, convenience, and as cooking technology keeps up, I think making great meals from frozen foods just becomes easier and easier.
Okay, and where can we learn more?
We want everybody to go check out easyhomemeals.com. March is frozen food month. So at easyhomemeals.com, you've got recipes, tips, everything you need, plus a chance to win $10,000 in prizes.
All right, thank you, Chef James Bercioni. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and filling us in on this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, 5 after the hour. Quick break here at the news desk. We'll come back with a look at some of the day's top stories, plus your local headlines on the way.